Hello and welcome back to Songs of Six. It's been a little bit since I've actually done a tutorial type bod, and some people or a person has asked me to cover military, and I thought that that'd be a good thing to go over. As I've been learning how military works in V.66, you can see these lovely boys are bringing clothes to the Army Supply Depot here. We also have rations for here, metal armor here, shields here, and then swords here. So each one of these contributes to your world army supply. So your garrison here, you have your garrison troops, and you also have a world army. So I sent these 100 boys, Division 6, who are 50% training. There's 100 of them. They have swords and shields, one of each. I sent them out to the world map. That cost me a specific amount of resources. You can click on them if you'd like to see how much it costs. You can hover over this, it'll say send out. It costs 198 rations to send them out. The reason I can't send them out right now is because currently they're trying to put all the rations back in this depot so that the guys that are currently out in the world will have rations, as well as them. They can have them when they leave. If you don't have the armor or the shields or the swords depot, your troops will not have them in the world map. They will technically have them in the regional map when you attack from the capital, because they are equipped with them here, but technically they need to be given them via a depot in their world army. So after you click one of these groups, initially you'll have 5 or 6 of these. I recommend that you disband all of them, and if you click on them here, you can hit edit. If you click this, you will change the factors of this group, and if you hit accept, it will destroy everyone. They will lose all of their training, so don't play around with it. It's better to create a new regiment here, then you can go in here and edit it however you'd like. If it's a Garthimi group, Dondarian, and you can see their base stats here. Pierce damage, Garthimi automatically have better pierce. Dondarians have average. These guys, Cretonians, of course, or Cantors, sorry, much bigger. Cretonians, what am I thinking? So they have much higher force. This is their force. You can see hovering over it is force. There's pierce damage. There's their hit points, their defense skills. So each one of these you hover over, you can see their total of each. So they have an amount of slash armor, slash damage, pierce damage. I always thought force was the blunt damage, but I guess force is like the amount of actual force they can do. There's morale here, and then this is technically ranged ammunition, but the ranged skill is right here. So if, for example, you had Talapis and you had them trained up, you can see the training is melee training here, range training here. A group or unit can be trained up all the way to both 100. You'll see the time it will take specifically at the bottom there. It'll take 179 days. So if you have a group specifically training to be melee, it'll take 79 days to be 100, and so on. If you drop it down, you can see create a group pretty quickly. It'll take you 3 days to get a group of 50 guys, and the more of them doesn't seem to affect the amount of days. So you could create up a huge group of 150 guys in 3 days. Pretty awesome, pretty nice stuff right there. If you look, it will take significantly longer to train guys doing archery. So you can see 3 takes 7 years to get to the 10, or 7 days I should say, and then this one takes 10, and it's going to take an additional 10, and keep going up 10 years, or 10 days. I don't know why I keep saying years. These are days. That's not too bad. 100 days for most players is not very long. So, for example, if you had a group like this, archery training at 100, if he didn't have bows, this is his weapon here, you'd have to click a bow. One bow here. If he has 150 guys, there needs to be 1 bow per person. Let's go to an actual regiment of people that we might have realistically. So let's craft up a group of guys that I might actually want to use. So I already have the groups of 100 here, so I'll have another one of 100. I like to usually start them out training at 10, especially if I don't have a lot of workers and I'm starting out. But now that I have plenty of workers and a lot of food, I don't mind training them all the way up to 50. You can see that that gets their offensive skill to 0.9. If you give them a shield, that'll give them a little bit of a boost to their defensive skill. And for some reason it's saying you can't give them a falcon. Oh, it's because they have a bow. You give them a shield and a sword, and they will be able to... I didn't know that they could actually use bows and shields, though. That is an interesting thing I just found out. So you could technically have bows with shields. This would help them with their defensive skill as well as their offensive skill with ranged. You can see the ammunition melee, or the thing goes up right there on the bottom. Take it away, it's gone. So I think actually, seems like the more bows you have, the more this goes up. So that might be the amount of damage it does when it hits, accuracy, fire rate. You can see there's actually a good amount of details down there at the bottom. And they don't even have any training there. So we're going to remove this. This is nonsense for now. Archers are a different bag, and I will do a whole video for them specifically because archery is a complex thing in this game. You're going to want to have melee troops. These guys, swords, shields, pretty good. We're going to accept. I don't have armor. Armor is hard to come by in my civilization here, and it's being relinquished to all of these guys. These are my special units. They're 90% melee training, so they have pretty good stats, but there's only 50 of them per division. That means they're a little flexible. They can move around a lot. So now I'm going to go to the world. We have our army, Army 1. If you'd like to create an army, you just click this. You go to recruit. Since I already have an army, it will allow me to place an army anywhere in my region. If I had more regions, I could technically place them wherever, but as we already have an army, it's placed right here. You can see this is all of the stats for your army here. The amount of supplies you have stored, the amount of clothes, the amount of drinks, piva, and then your weapons and your shields as well as anything else. Furniture appears to be apparently used for catapults now, which is interesting. I never knew that. So you're going to have buildings specifically for your catapult machinery and furniture to be stored, and it looks like you could craft a specific amount. Like you could say, oh, I want one catapult with this group, and then move them around together. So you can see their supplies, they have 194%, morale 103%, health 100%, and there's 98 of them. So we're gonna walk our way over here, just do a little scout mission because we don't know what our neighbor has in store, but this guy here is technically the group of people we're going to want to fight. If all 100 of these guys die, oh, looks like we're already engaging them, so we will lose 98, it says, if we auto engage. Let's try an engagement with me in the helm. Yep, that's kind of what I thought. So they're garrison troops. They have the armor and decent training. For some reason, it makes them think that they are going to win, but they have literally no weapons. So we have weapons, and we have shields. Theoretically, if we hit them hard enough in the right way, we should win. And they're Talapi, so they don't really have very good strength. So the way that this works is basically, and this is good because I have a small group against a equally sized group. This unit here is set automatically to loose formation, increases offense but decreases defense. But they also have guard mode, which will be set automatically. If you click that off, that will remove the guard mode, which will give them a little bit more damage. It doesn't say that they have more attack damage or offensive skill, but technically they do. And if you make them move faster, they will hit this group much harder and with a force that kind of spooks them a little bit, scares them off. So you can see they have less morale overall. And the way it works is if I was to click attack unit, they will start to do like a shimmy, and they'll start to move back and forth. That's not how you want to do it. So ideally you hit start, go play, and then pause. Then instead of clicking to attack that unit, you're going to want to draw kind of where you think your units are going to collide with them. And the reason why I'm spreading them out around them is so that they can collapse around their unit on both sides. When this guy starts to move forward, he'll kind of move right into where I put that line here. You can see this is right here. Hopefully our guys will make it. If they don't, I can adjust it really quickly. And if you see this line, that's backwards. This is their back. I made that mistake a lot. So you have to drag from the other direction. You can see the arrows. It may not seem like it because the arrows are pointing backwards, but I'm pretty sure that this is the actual front. And I've had this problem before where my guys are moving backwards to a spot that I didn't want them to. So keep that in mind. Oh, I thought there was two different groups. I was like, what are they doing there? Splitting up? So they do that little line thing, and we're going to try to get them like this. If you're having a hard time and you want things to slow down, you can pause it. You can also hit 2 and then 2 again, and it will put it in a quarter time speed. That'll allow you to make a quick move like this. Our guys should engage relatively well here. We've got it on quarter time speed. The boys are moving in, and then we're going to want to close the gap. Everyone coming on the sides here. So initial morale for the enemy is okay. But we hit their unit pretty well. And as mentioned, you want to draw your guys like over the enemy. That's how I do it. That way each guy kind of gets involved. So we're going to let this play in full speed. You're equally matched, but the enemy has no weapons. Theoretically, we should win this, and their morale is slowly dropping. Well, actually, it's not sitting. It's sitting average. Come on, Humies! Hold through, brothers! And this is thrilling, ripping, cutting-edge gameplay right here. 98 humans, 100 Talapis, engaged in Mortal Kombat here. This guy does not want any part of it anymore. He's running away. He said, I can't fucking... Oh, she said this. I can't fucking do it anymore. He's running away. So their morale is dropping. They're at 3.9. Like I said, that blue little flag at the bottom there. They're getting tired. Our guys are not as tired. They have significantly better morale. Oh, the Talapis are pulling back. Their morale is coming back. Oh, it's dropping again. They're dropping because we have units on both sides of them. So they feel like they're getting surrounded. And in reality, they are. Even though we have less guys, we are surrounding them. We've lost 2. They've lost 4. So hopefully we can keep this killing up here. As they start to get tired and their morale starts to drop, we'll start to do more killing. And all we need to do is take out all of their guys so we can cap their civilization. Simple stuff, simple stuff. 103. We'll speed it up a little bit, see what happens. Humans. And you can't really maneuver them or try to maneuver them out of this position. It's best to just stay as they are. They're in an attacking formation. We're going to set them to defensive right now. I think guarding would probably be better overall. Actually, I'm going to change that. I lied. Look like their morale started to drop. It's a close call for sure because we had equal numbers, but looks like we're pulling through. Get them. Get them. And these little guys are not part of the actual combat. They pull away because of their tiredness or something along those lines. And it looks like the rest are going to flee. Oh, they came back in from the back. That's not fair. You guys are cheating. You're supposed to run away. You're not supposed to come back into conflict. They are very well trained. You can see they came back a lot there. But we did win in the end. At a decent cost. Alright, we gained 108 armor. We can capture these guys, we could execute them, or we could release them. I guess chivalry is a pretty good thing, so we're just going to release them all. And we're going to move towards their capital. Now, if I'm pretty sure it's similar to V.66, this guy will probably spawn in another group of guys before we get there. which will be kind of obnoxious, but hopefully we can get him in there before that. Alright, so if we wait, we'll be able to assault this guy in a while. If we assaulted right now, we would lose all 83 guys and we wouldn't kill anyone. So we'll give it a wait job here, and let's check to make sure they've got food. Alright, they've got rations. It looks good. So we're gonna go and look at the city really quickly and kind of go over a little bit of what I've done and then call it a day, because this is just been it's been a hard time recently to get into Songs of SYX. As much as I love the game, I've just been really caught up with other things, and I know I'm breaking the immersion. I've been just caught up with so much life stuff, trying to do other series to kind of free up my brain a little bit, because constantly playing this game, it does leave me a little bit stressed, because I'll notice something and I'll be like, oh fuck, there's no room for this thing here, and I'll spend like hours thinking about it and just going, oh fuck, I should have done it this way, I should have done it that way. It's kind of an annoyance, so definitely take a break from this type of game. If you played for a long time like myself, take some breaks, but let's go over really quickly kind of what I've got accomplished. Our asylum is up and running. The ration maker here, he's making a good amount of rations, and we have the secondary baker over here. There's the additional warehouse for all of the goods that are coming from here. So all the grain that's getting excess left over here is getting brought over here, and then these boys are making it into bread. We have 4 different smithies. This smithy is quickly working to pump out as much freaking plate armor as he possibly can. This guy is making swords, and this guy as well. Trying to make all the swords so that everyone at least has a weapon in our society, and then this guy is making tools. We only have one guy, and he makes a decent amount of tools. He's got a lot of tools that he's making. We have our brewer, our weaver, of course. And then when we come back down here, I had these carpenter makers, or carpenter guys. They started making leather, or what are they, wooden shields. So the wooden shields, we have 1.3 thousand. Yeah, 1,000. And that basically allows each one of our troopers to have a shield and be protected. Also, looks like we're missing people. I think it's because, yeah, we created this other division of guys that's training right now. As mentioned, though, you're going to want to keep a good amount of guys decently well trained and make sure they have weapons and armor. I think at the moment, they're definitely the toughest they've ever been for rebels. They come packing heat. They come with full equipment. So, for example, if I wanted to equip this guy, I didn't go over plate armor and numbers, so if I wanted to equip this guy with the full, we call it ticks, 8 ticks is the max amount of ticks you could have. It would cost 400 plate armor just to equip this unit with full armor. The same 400 swords just to equip this guy with full weapons. And what that means is if a guy has 8 ticks of plate armor and he gets hit by a weapon of less than 8 ticks, let's say plate is hit by a warhammer of 2 ticks and it has 8 ticks, it has a very low likelihood of actually piercing or damaging that guy with his plate armor on. That's kind of how I understand. That's how it's been explained to me. So if you think of it, it's kind of like a dice roll. So the ideal way to kill a guy with plate armor, with 8 plate armor, would be a 8 pokey poke pierce damage here. And it also seems like the Falcata has slash damage now too, which I don't think it had before. So when you have the Falcata, it seems to be good for both slash and piercing. So if somebody had a plate armor, that's you're gonna have to poke through. Then you're gonna need this pierce, and if it's this one, the same, you're gonna need pierce. And for naked guys with nothing on, slash is what you want. And obviously blunt damage just does good damage to plate and regular guys all across the board. So each weapon is useful in their own regard. I don't think any weapon is better than any other weapon, but they definitely have their play styles. So if humans are better off with swords and shields because of the fact that they get the boost of the defense from their shields, and then they can use the swords to slash and stab. Eventually we're going to want to have some archers join us. And on the topic of this besiegement here, this is the last kind of thing I'll cover before I go into admin for the next video, because I'm going to have to spend some time getting the admin going. Hopefully I beat these guys. If not, I'll just send an additional group and capture it that way. But you see this little 21 times, this fortification number is the amount of days or time that is left for this building to kind of fall into disrepair, and then you can capture it. You can see this is your balance. So ideally you want this to get down to about 3.0 or 1.0 or 0. Ideally you'll have 0 losses. Once it hits that point, it should take 3 or 4 days. Then you can capture the point for no loss at all. If you want to rush it with mercenaries and lose the mercenaries, that's fine. But when you lose troops, like in this group here, the 18 or the 17 guys that I lost in this group, they're going to have to be trained in the world map, or rather at the capital. I'm trying to do this. They'll be trained in the capital. And then once they're done training, you can see they're training currently in here. I can hover over here. There are 17 guys that are currently training. Once they're done training for Division 6, they will actually jump into the world map. And they physically will walk their asses to where they need to go. So if I clicked on them, I don't think it's going to show me each guy from this division, but the guys from this division will finish their training and head off to the world map to join their comrades in battle. So there is that. Keep that in mind. And from my understanding, they also have to grab their equipment. So they will grab things from this portion. They equip themselves when they leave, and then they are also kept supplied via this. It's weird. It's very weird. I've had troops in the world map who didn't grab stuff and they weren't equipped because they weren't being supplied via that. Kind of cumbersome. Definitely a game that I think people should get used to save scumming, as it's terrible to do, but quick saving is your best friend. I quick save a lot when I'm playing a beta like this, because I had a instance where our neighbor killed me 3 times. He beat my army up significantly with only 45 guys. So I spent a lot of time actually trying to get that fixed, and that's a little bit of a break for people. I don't know if people will dislike that, but I'm not going to end the series on a bullshit raid of 45 Amevians killing 500. They killed 500. I watched them. They cut down 500 people. So if your guys aren't trained up, my guys are only trained to 10 to 20%. I think that the key is to have them trained up pretty high. Even if you only had 50 guys trained up to 90, that's much better than if you had fucking 400 guys trained up to 10%. They will last much longer, and if you can equip those 50 guys pretty decently with weapons and armor, they'll last quite some time. So just keep that in mind if you're playing your own city and you're getting beat up by raiders on this new patch V.66, that it is very difficult, and be sure to kind of prepare yourself for the military excursions, I should call them, because there's going to be a lot of them. They're constantly going to be harassing you. My notes here are always someone harassing me saying that they want something or they're going to attack me. So I think that Jake definitely needs to lower the RNG for certain events, but that's just me. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. You guys are all lovely. I really appreciate all the support. It's lovely to see people, and thank you for the people who wished me to feel better when I was not feeling so well. You guys are lovely. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.